Good afternoon and welcome to another night of League of Legends with St. Lawrence University. Tonight we will be kicking off against Thomas College. I will be your host and your play-by-play announcer. My name is Travis Roby. To the guys outside, I am coach. So I will be giving you a little bit of a breakdown. We'll be starting off by going over the team comps for today. So as you can see on your screens right now, we got Thomas College. They are the blue side. They are on the left side. They are the picks on the left side of your screen. And St. Lawrence University will be the picks on the red side. They will be on the right side of your screen. So we just concluded those picks and bans, and I will be breaking it down for you while we wait for them to get into game. The game will be on a delay, so we will be slightly behind the players, about 3 minutes, but that's to ensure that the game is fair, equal, and nobody can be looking at what we're seeing in order to influence how the game might impact them out there. So, a little bit for a breakdown. The blue side, they got the option to pick first. We had a little bit of an idea going into this that their high priority picks were going to be that Kai'Sa Nautilus. They ended up opting to ban that Kai'Sa away from us, knowing that we would have picked it in return, and opted for that Nautilus pick. Before that pick came in, sorry I didn't go over this, but there was 3 bans for each side. So each side got the opportunity to ban away 3 comfort champs for each individual on their respective teams. So for the blue side, they opted to take away Camille, Jax, and Kai'Sa. And our St. Lawrence Saints took away Ashe, Nefiri, and Lilia. And what we can tell from these bans is there is a high priority ban rate onto our top laner, James. So they are definitely looking to shut him down and take away those comfort picks. And it's really clear when we see that with 4 out of the 5 bans going right at him. So as we go down and we work our way through these picks, we have Nautilus coming in first, where that was drafted for Thomas College. That's on the blue side. Again, that is the left side of your screen. We responded with that Leona Lucian, where we're looking to bring in a more aggressive bot lane in order to match what they had for picks available for that ADC. They opted for something that was a little bit more doing well in the meta right now, but it doesn't do well into killing tanks, and that's why they drafted the Jhin. Jhin will have a decent lane and will be able to be safe behind that Nautilus. However, he is going to struggle to kill those tanks as the game goes on. So if this game runs late, he will not be able to kill that Leona Amumu. It's just something that Champion struggles with, whereas Lucian doesn't have that same problem. However, Lucian cannot burst those squishy targets quite like Jhin can. For that final pick in the first round for that blue side, it was Skarner. Skarner just recently got reworked. I know not as recent for some of us who have been staying with the meta the whole way through, but for those of you who have not seen any of our streams of League of Legends since last, Skarner's been reworked. He now can go through walls. His ultimate can grab multiple people. He can grab 3 people, drag them around, bring them to his team. A really super solid pick. It makes it super hard to spot out a gank incoming when he is around the area. The final pick for our St. Lawrence University team is going to be Nate, who is our jungler, picking that Amumu. That Amumu is going to be great for locking down and setting up plays in these individual lanes. Swapping over to our final bans, we had Renekton and Trend, like I spoke to, additional bans going on to James, and our final bans were Mordekaiser and Vex. Final picks as we wait for this last 1 minute delay. We had Fiora come in for the red side. It was a comfort pick for James. I'm really excited to see what he's able to do against this Tom Kench on the other side. That is their top laner that they picked in response to that Fiora pick. And then the final pick for that blue side is going to be Hui. Hui is going to have a lot of weight on him this game if he's going to be able to match the damage of the Jhin and supply enough damage for that Thomas College team to keep up with our St. Lawrence Saints. That final pick, the pick I'm probably most excited for, is seeing Seba on that Lissandra. It is something brand new that we have just started learning, and I think it's going to be really exciting to see what he's able to work with on that today. So we are getting ready to head over in just a brief moment. Your screens will be changing very shortly to our load-in screen, and we will be underway in just a moment. Just gonna be one moment, and there we are. We are back. So as you see, they are loading in right now for us. Again, they are ahead of us right now, so they actually have already played 3 minutes into this game, so let's see a little bit what we're going to be looking for. These comps, for the most part, you're going to see that the blue side is going to be looking for team fights, as well as the red side with something like Fiora prioritizes a little bit more, giving Fiora that lane presence.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
And as we see the Saints setting up, we're actually stacking a bush currently. So the purpose of stacking a bush is that we think that there may be an invade coming. However, because we have the observer view, we can see that Thomas College has actually just opted for the traditional 5-point. That traditional 5-point, you just have somebody covering each one of the entrances onto your side of the map, ensuring that nothing can occur in the early game. However, if they wanted to, it is a strong look having something like Nautilus that can grab a champion from the red side, our Saints, early on, and grab maybe an early kill. So that stack there is very strategic from the Saints, ensuring that if they showed up, they're ready to turn on to them. Looking like Amumu's headed over to his Raptors. He'll be starting on that top side. We'll be watching an eye on him as we see he should be looking to play more towards that bot side. So starting on this top side will allow for him to do a thorough clear of his top side, rush down to that bot lane, and start getting things happening. We also see Skarner for the blue side. He's also starting Raptors, so they will actually be going opposing of each other. However, Skarner could look for an early cheese gank onto the Saints bot lane if he would like. He's actually opting to skip red and is going for Krugs next, which is interesting and would leave me inclined to maybe some sort of an early gank onto our Saints in the bot lane. However, it looks like he might just head over to red after. This is going to be a pretty volatile lane in the bot lane. As you can see, Saints have just hit 2. It's very crucial in the bot lane. First lane to hit 2, you get a second ability. You're able to control the lane at a much easier pace. I expect to see that this lane will start going off pretty soon. And by going off, I mean I expect to see that Leona, which is our T1 in the river right now, will be looking to engage on that Nautilus, which is also just hit that ward. So as you can see, they both look like they're setting up vision, prepping for these junglers, knowing that jungle will be looking quite a bit at this lane in order to start impacting it. As we look top, James is setting up a nice wave. He just had crash onto Tom Kench. However, he does not know Skarner. Skarner is going in. Skarner hits the stun, followed by Tom Kench. Tom Kench looking for the engage, hits the Q, is stacking up, and they score the first blood onto James. So James will be sent back to base, and that will be a kill into Skarner's pocket. That's one of the dangers if you push a little bit too far too early without that vision, without knowing where that Skarner's starting, you are not sure that you are safe. So that will be a first blood going into the pockets of Thomas College. As we see here, Nate currently in the bottom river, looking between that mid and bot lane, trying to make a decision. What can he do here? Unfortunately, that bot lane is a little bit too shoved in right now for Nate to be making any sort of play, as well as mid, kind of on the even side. He's just now scouting out vision. He sees that Skarner has taken Raptors, knowing that he is going to still be on that blue side. Not a whole lot of action happening just yet. Oh, there's the engage from Seba. Seba hits the W, followed by a Q. Ends up taking a turret shot, forced to flash. Amumu's there. Amumu brings Lissandra to safety. It's just a slight little bit of an overstep there, not accounting for that tower shot. Ends up forcing the flash out of him. And we'll give Hui, which is that blue side champion in that lane, a little bit of an advantage if he looks for another follow-up engage. Amumu's coming down for that bot lane gank. That's going to be a miss by the Leona for that E. Amumu's there, but there is no angle for that follow-up, and he will have to go back to his jungle. We see Nautilus is now setting up some vision as well in this lane, but overall the lane is in its spot to push back, but it looks like the Saints would like to shove, which signals that they will be looking for a reset here. Reset, send that gold, come back to lane a little bit stronger. As we're looking at the gold right now, It's quite a bit of gold in the side of the Saints' pockets. We can also look at the CS differentials. Seba back in the mid lane, just clearing out that wave while he has that time before Hui finishes getting there. However, Seba needs to be careful with that health bar, and knowing that Hui still has Flash and he does not have access to that tool. Flash is a tool that can be used for an engage or it can be used for that disengage. So really just, it's a critical tool, and not having access to that is a little bit tough when you're in lane against a champion who does. Nate looking for that clear. We're going to see him still looking to try and see what he's able to make possible on that bottom side of the map. As you can see, our bot lane has now reset. Back in lane, they're going to clear out this wave, and we can see blue side's now going to be opting for their reset. James looking for a possible fight against Tom Kench. Hits the vital. That's his ultimate. Ultimate down. He needs to hit one more. He hits it. It's just going to be just not enough. However, now he has a health bar advantage. Does not have access to that ult anymore. He just needs to be cautious of that Skarner possibly coming up for that gank. But we do know that Amumu's in the area, allowing for a little bit of a safer time. We see Skarner possibly coming around onto the Lissandra. Lissandra ease out to safety. There'll be no play mid. And now we know where that jungle is for that Thomas College team. Seba placing that ward, providing a little bit of safety. As we can see on the screen too, we are currently scoring the objective, which is Void Grubs. Nate is currently on Void Grubs. Void Grubs give more damage to towers, as well as if you're able to stack up to 6, you will also get bonus little minions that'll also help attack towers. This is going to be a crucial objective for them to grab, especially with something like Fiora built into a comp, where you're really looking to allow her to get into that. Hold that thought. We got a fight in the bot lane. As you can see, that's 4 members from Thomas College. Right now, they could be looking to possibly threaten a dive. However, they are just going to walk away. The Saints will be able to collect the wave. This also allows, with that Hui rotating down into that bot lane, it allows for Seba mid to take that tower. Seba has to be careful walking into this fog of vision. That's going to be the Hui ulti onto him. Seba is forced to use ult. Nautilus is there. CC lands. However, he is able to get out with that escape tool, which is that E. We see Amumu pathing down to this Drake. However, it looks like he just called off his bot lane, and it looks like they're just going to give that first Drake. It's not worth fighting. And that first Ocean Drake will go over to the blue team. So that will be on that Thomas College team. Overall, you will traditionally see in these games, if we're taking Void Grubs, you're going to see that blue Thomas College side, they'll be opting for something like that Drake. It's a trade traditional. You'll see usually a trade of 2 Drakes for 2 sets of Void Grubs, or maybe a 1-on-1 sort of type of deal. So right now, we just got Seba. We're resetting. You see that Hui just reset mid. Seba's going to have access to push in this wave. We see Fiora scouting out in their top jungle, as well as Tom Kench trying to scout out where he can see her. But overall, it looks like they've opted to start slowing down. Some of the numbers to start looking at is these CS numbers that's next to each of the champion icons. So, for example, that Fiora being at 69 CS to that Tom Kench's 44. Not great optics for that top laner of Thomas College. As well as we can see Nate's ahead in the jungle. Seba's a little bit behind in the mid lane. Gabe has a slight lead, but overall I would say pretty much neutral. As Jhin picks up these minion kills, there's not going to be a whole lot of difference there. And the one difference between that support is ultimately going to be neutral as well. So really what's going to matter here, hearing that these lanes are overall very neutral in the bot lane, is going to be which jungler can come down and affect this lane first, and start lining the pockets of gold for their respective team. Right now we see Skarner's on the wrong side of the map for that, as well as so is Amumu. So right now it looks like both bot lanes are safe. We see that there is vision set up more for the Saints than there is for that Thomas College bot lane as well. That knowledge is just off of that minimap if you see those ward icons. Right now we got Amumu and Skarner both on the top side. That's going to be a jump onto Hui. And Seba's able to secure that kill. So now, as you can see, Hui, that death timer. Oh, we got a fight breaking out in the bot lane. That's going to be the Leona ult on Nautilus. However, Lucian's focusing, and he ends up scoring that kill. There was a little bit of a miscommunication you could tell from the St. Lawrence bot lane there, where Leona was looking to focus that Nautilus, Lucian was focusing that Jhin there, but overall they're able to pull it off, make it work, and they are able to score that kill onto Nautilus, which will be big for that neutral lane, allowing and giving that access to that bonus gold to the sides of the Saints. So right now, overall, gold lead. Not anything too crazy just yet. There's a slight gold lead if you look at the top of your screen in favor of the Saints. We're at 16.4K, and then you see Thomas College is at about 15.1 now. So overall, a nice gold lead for the Saints, but it's not enough to say that, you know, they're in a definite position to close out this game or anything just quite yet. So we see Nautilus moving over to this top side. Seba's looking to set up a kill onto the Sway one more time. He lands the root. He gets knocked up. Skarner grabs Seba. Seba casts ult. We see Fiora going in, looking to see what she can find. Drag to tower, voids it, and that's going to be a kill onto the Nautilus. They're looking for a little bit more. Nate hits that, ends up dying for it. A little bit of an overextension there from the Saints. They should have taken that kill and just backed off. They also have to respect that Thomas College did move 4 members to that play, whereas the Saints only moved 3. 4 beats 3. However, they are able to come out with a clean 1-for-1 there, which will stop anybody from taking those Void Grubs right off the bat. Although, it looks like Thomas College is going to opt for it anyways, so they have their Skarner going for it right now. We see there's a TP on the back end. It looks like he spots it, and he's just going to walk away. So they are going to score one of the Void Grubs there. However, the Saints will be able to still get to 5 if they want it, but they will not get that 2 Void spawn, those little minions that I was talking to you about before. So we see Nate getting ready to start it. However, his mid laner just reset, and his top laner is actually pushed in. So if Skarner decided to come back, it's a little bit of a dicey situation for him as he doesn't have the tools in his lanes, but it looks like Skarner's just going to reset. He's on his way bot, so our bot lane needs to start being careful, especially with Drake coming up soon. We're going to see him start clearing that river, river vision, as well as clearing these Krugs. We see Seba's also on the move, setting down that vision early for that Drake. Amumu clears out those last 2 Void Grubs, so now he is free to move around the map as well. Our next big contention point is going to be that Drake that I was telling you about. It should be spawning here shortly. Looked like it was Cloud. We see Skarner setting up in that tri-bush, so our bot lane, those 2 red champions on our screen need to be a little bit careful of that Skarner coming through that wall like we talked about. He can just come right through that wall, grab one, throw him into the wall, and they're stunned. But we see Amumu is hovering in the area, so it's clear that the Saints are not willing to just give them this Drake like they were able to give them the last one. Skarner is now slowly on his approach to that mid lane. That's going to be a little bit of poke traded between our 2 mid laners. However, it's just a cleared wave. They spot out that Skarner's in the area. And it looks like we are looking for a fight onto them bot. That's going to be the Amumu ult down onto Nautilus and Jhin. Nautilus is dying quick, and he falls. That's going to be the Skarner triple ult onto our bot lane, as well as our jungle. Seba's in ult off to the side. They're able to take down that Skarner. They're looking to turn on to Hui while Leona distracts that Jhin. However, that Hui is able to score that double kill. And if he's able to hit this last auto, this Jhin will secure his kill as well. So that's going to be 3 kills going over to the side of Thomas College, with only 2 kills going over to the side of our Saints. Important to note that a lot of the gold for the Saints is currently going on that Lissandra mid, as well as Hui has also picked up 3 of those kills, so they are going to be high priority targets for those champions that have the CC to hold them in place and try to limit that type of damage from coming out. So it's going to be very important as we watch Hui and Lissandra what they're able to do with these leads. So they're both sitting about 5K for gold. We also see James up there. He's also sitting at 5K. So there are people who are still getting close. You see Jhin for Thomas College is also getting there. That's going to be the root landed onto Seba. Seba's going to try to eat a safety, gets the safety. As you can see, Amumu's also in the area, which will stop any further type of engage from happening. We see Nautilus is looking for a reset here. Saints do not know that yet, but however, they are looking for this Drake, we see Nautilus and Skarner over the wall. They're looking to possibly take a fight here. So it is going to be important. There we go. There's the Skarner engaged. Seb is able to W him out. Nate secures the kill. We got a fight breaking out. Right now there's a focus on Nate as well as the Skarner. Skarner falls. It's going to be the kill onto Nautilus, followed by the kills onto the St. Lawrence bot lane and mid. So it's important to note, I just talked about those kills in the mid lane where it was going to be Seba, which is that Lissandra. That's our Kraif's mid laner. He was at 3 kills as well as that Hui was at 3 kills, but now Hui's at 7 and Lissandra's only at 4. So it's going to be important. How are the Saints able to negate this lead? And how are they going to slow down this Hui from getting too fed that he can start one-shotting people like Gabe in the ADC role? So right now, eyes to keep out on. One of the people who's doing exceptionally well for the Saints right now is going to be that Fiora top, earning quite a bit of gold, as well as has a 150 shutdown gold. So if somebody is able to kill her from Thomas College, they're going to get a 450 payout, as well as Hui now at a 600. That would be a huge payout. That would almost be, you know, for some people an item component, depending upon what else can be grabbed. Maybe a full item, maybe completion of an item. So it's going to be important that the Saints really start looking to find a way to lock down this Hui and burst him before he can start scoring more gold. It looks like the Saints are possibly going to come around to see if they can fight for this Rift Herald. However, keep in mind, Leona is still bot. Nautilus is there at the Rift, so if they look for this fight, they don't have the numbers. But it looks like they're going to recognize they don't have the numbers and just opt to back off, which is the right call there for the Saints. They are not in position to be taking this fight yet. Bot lane, they're looking for some chip damage. However, if that Leona is going to be staying bot, the Saints should start looking for a possible dive, especially with tools like Jhin being so immobile and Leona having such great lockdown. So maybe here, if we don't see the Nautilus go back, we see that poke damage going on to Kraft. Kraft is super low, and he ends up dying. So he ends up going forward with that E, which he, after that damage, should have opted to not go near that Hui. He should have opted to distance himself there, and he ends up dying for it. So it is not going to be a play in favor of the Saints here. So we look over to top lane. We just have, they're just looking to pick up farm. As you can see, that Fiora in our top lane, James, he is able to keep expanding that lead. He's at almost 170 farm now to about 120. That's going to be Rift Herald placed down on the side of Thomas College, and there's a crash for that tower damage. Saints are going to respond, and they're going to have to take that down. But looks like there's going to be nothing else. Thomas College is going to clear the wave and just back out. So right now, one of those things we talked about, one of the big things that they were going to be looking at was that gold and getting that gold onto these carries. Those carries being for the side of Thomas College, that Hui and that Jhin, right now at 8-1 and 1-0, both with decent farm. So they are both sitting in a good spot right now, and currently they are both leading their counterparts, which is our Lissandra and our Lucian. And we will need to start looking to get some kills onto that Lucian as well as that Lissandra if we're looking to take these fights. So looking for these picks before we look for these all-ins. The Saints are really not in a position to look for all-ins until they start getting some more gold. As you can see, this is that split push, allowing James to do what he wants to do. In this side lane, he's able to grab that turret. That's going to be more gold into the sides of the Saints. However, unfortunately, because they took that mid tower, that's not going to be that first turret gold. Right now, as we can see, Lissandra is rotated down bot. However, she's just sitting on a ward, does not know that she's seen. They're going to put Skarner in position if anything is going to occur. He's there to counter. But as you see, you know, Lissandra doesn't find anything. He's just going to leave. Bot lane backs up as Skarner comes around just to scare him off a little bit. And we're just going to see a stalemate in the bot lane still. What's critical here is it's going to be for that engage in this bot lane. You know, does Nautilus hit that pull onto Lucian? Is Leona able to find that E into her Q stun onto that Jhin? Because if they're able to find and put these ADCs into their place and hold them still, it's going to be a whole lot easier for those ADCs to follow up and score those kills. We see that wave going in, but again, it's just going to be one of those. Jin's going to clear the wave. There's not a whole lot that's being done. Baron Nashor's just spawned. That's going to be the purple icon on our mini maps. No team's really in position to grab anything like that, but if somebody's able to grab it, they will be able to enhance their minions, which will enhance somebody like James in that side lane to have higher minion. Oh, there's going to be a fight. We're breaking out. We're looking for the kill onto Jhin. However, that Gabe slid in a little bit too early by himself, and that's going to be the Skarner ult that picks up our Leona and that Amumu. As you can see, Hui's in the area. He's now following up. Seb is trying to do what he can to try to provide some sort of a path out. As you can see, it looks like Leona's just going to be trapped. She misses her E onto the Hui. Was looking to grab onto Hui and get out of there, but she's just going to be CC'd until she died. Again, it's going to be one of those Saints need to play with a little bit more patience than they're playing right now, because with that Lucian sliding at tower towards that Jhin, he was put into a dangerous situation, and they're able to just turn on him because there's no sort of CC waiting there with him, and a lot of that just comes down to patience and discipline and making sure you're not out of position too early during the fight. So Saints are going to walk away with 3 more dead, and they're not even going to pick up a kill that time. As you can see, they're now going for that tier 2 in the bot lane as well as they are now going for that Drake. We see Seba is rotating over, seeing what sort of vision he can get. He spots out Skarners on Drake, but truly there's not going to be a whole lot that he's going to be able to do here. Although that's the Amumu. Amumu smites, and he's able to steal that Drake away. So that is going to be a huge play coming out from Nate. However, they just need to try to create this distance, see if they can get out of here. It looks like Nate is just going to be dead. He's going to waste as much time with Thomas College as he can to secure that Lissandra's able to get out of the area. So ultimately, that's going to be a trade for that Drake. It's going to be a trade for Amumu's life. Overall, it's a good play from the Saints. They're able to deny that dragging stacking, which will help slow down them from getting that soul. Soul is scored once the team has hit 4, and the benefits of that Drake are significantly enhanced. As you can see, everybody going back, spending their gold. We can also see on these bounties now, James has lost his bounty over time. A lot of that doing with the fact that the Saints are behind right now. There's not a whole lot for them to cash out on James now. James is going to be in that side lane, seeing what sort of pressure he can apply to the map. However, also now you got to keep note that Jhin also now has a 300 bounty, as well as they've upped that bounty on that Hui up to 700. So it is crucial that the Saints grab these bounties and make sure that these bounties go on some sort of a carry. So whether that's that Fiora in the top lane, that Lissandra, which we see on our screen right now, who used to be mid, or getting it on that Lucian, making sure we're getting that bounty and that gold onto a carry. So right now we see a flank going around onto Lissandra. Lissandra's going to spot it and see about getting out. We see the E cast. That's going to be the Nautilus Q follow-up. Great W to hold them in place. However, that's going to be the Skarner, ult to follow up, pull him out, but Seba is able to flash away to safety after casting his own ultimate, so they cannot hit him while he's in that. Seba just has to back here, staying here. He is at risk of being killed off by Hui, almost like he was last time. However, he's going to back up and respect them this time. As we can see, the Saints are going to look to start this Baron, which is a good call here because we do now know the Hui mid was bought, as well as their jungler Skarner, who they need for this objective, and their support. So when they over-rotated there, the Saints are going to look to pick up this objective, and it looks like Thomas College is totally unaware of what just happened. And now they know with these purple buffs coming out and the announcement that they just had Baron snuck on them. It's going to be important here. Seba possibly stepping up a little bit too early. Without that ultimate, it's too dangerous for that Lissandra to be going in so early. Now we see Fiora's slowly making her way over. However, it's still a 3v4 here. We have Leona chasing the Hui. Hui is now getting jumped by Fiora. We want to see this kill. That's going to be the kill onto Hui, as well as on that backside of the fight that Amumu grabbed onto that Nautilus, was able to secure that kill with Lucian. We see Jin's now on the run for his life, as well as Skarner. They're going to be running out of line here. So we see Saints split up 2-on-2. It's going to be Fiora and Lucian going to score this kill onto Skarner, as well as we see Leona and Amumu chased off the Jhin. He's able to score that execute, so unfortunately that bounty will not be going to anybody, but if you look at the bounties, Jin still has his because he scored that execute. That means the kill did not go to one of our Saints, so that kill will not add any gold to any of the Saint members' pockets. However, it's good that they scored the kill. They now have the option to go to the map where they would like, start applying pressure, as well as looking to possibly score towers. We can see in the bot lane right now, James is shoving in that wave as quick as he could, but he didn't have a wave to respond, so he's just waiting. Right now, if we can see all the blue champs, nobody's currently on their way. We see Leona hovering the Fiora here, anticipating some sort of rotate down. However, she should probably be mid with her Lucian here. Lucian is going to get caught out by Nautilus. He's got Hui on one side, Nautilus on the other. He's got to be super careful here. He's able to E over the wall. Leona's there, although he's going to get picked up by that Skarner with that ulti. He's casting his own ulti, trying to deal that damage, waste that time, see what he's able to do. Currently in the process of going down towards Fiora. Fiora's just going to have to run, eats the Nautilus ult. So in the end, it's great that he was able to pull out 2 of those ultis, especially critical ones for holding targets in place for the side of Thomas College after they were unable to grab him and keep him in place. We did get to see that Nautilus flash, missed that hook after a flash, costing him forced to throw that ultimate down to salvage that play on the side of Thomas College. So right now we got Lissandra pushing out the top side, as well as we have 3 members of the Saints looking at possibly pushing into the Drake pit. However, keep in mind, Thomas College has the numbers here if they look to push in. And we do have Lissandra in that side lane. We're opting to put her on split push. We just have our ADC respawn, but he's not going to get there in time. We're wasting a lot of time We're able to waste time as Thomas College is afraid of some sort of an engage. Our Lissandra's able to get some good damage onto that top tower, but overall it's just going to be Drake falling to the side of Thomas College, in large part to the Saints couldn't respond with that Lucian dead, with them getting caught out. You know, they cannot apply pressure, they cannot get in there, they can't get vision, and they're forced to just ultimately give it, so we will be tied at 2 Drakes to 2 Drakes. Seba trying to see if he can steal that blue buff, struggling as the damage isn't truly there for him, but we see Amumu's on his way, maybe going to come give a helping hand. Helping hand's going to be probably a little bit too late as Nautilus and Quay spot it out. They're going to be able to take their own blue buff. Fortunately, that Lissandra damage not going to be there just quite yet. So as we can see, that Leona is now sticking with that Lucian a little bit closer. She should probably be in vision with him. Going to take this scuttle. The scuttle will reveal if there's any area in the area for Thomas College, as well as if there's any champions in the current area. So they spot out all 4 members. As you can see, we have Fiora rotating over through the backside. It means the Saints are looking for a play here. And it looks like Thomas College is going to clear out. However, now that they are taking this long path around, they have nobody standing under that tower, and the Saints will get the opportunity to free hit this tower if they want to go for it. But they must keep in mind, there's the engage. Skarner misses. His ult ends up landing on just the Amumu, not who he's looking for. That Lissandra is locking up that backline. That's going to be a kill onto that Jhin, as well as we see Lissandra fall. Skarner chasing down that Lucian, able to get stopped by that Amumu, grabbing on. We need to keep in mind the main carries here in the fight still are going to be that Lucian and that Hui, as well as that Fiora too for the side of the Saints. It's going to be an almost dead Tom Kench, not quite yet. Nautilus misses the hook, and it looks like it's going to end at a 2 for 2. However, keep in mind, they have now given away that tier 2, and they no longer can run back to that tower. So overall, that's going to be a positive trade on the side of the Saints because they're able to score that extra objective that they were not able to score on the side of Thomas College. So now we're going to see it's just going to be a reset again. They'll be setting up some sort of vision again. As we see, we got Baron, which is going to be that purple timer right above that mini-map. It's coming back in 10 seconds. So we are just going to wait. But that means we know that both teams are going to have to start setting up that vision line on that top side of the map, which we can see Mumu's playing around right now. We see there is a control ward on behalf of St. Lawrence on there. Now there is a control ward on the side of Thomas College. We see Skarner's looking for something. Hui just accidentally presses Zhonya's. Definitely not what you want to see, especially on a champion that has something like 450 shutdown. So it is going to be that much easier if they're able to lock him down and find that kill. We see Nautilus a little bit out of position here. However, he's going to use that blast cone just to get back to safety. We see Fiora going up towards that top side. We need to be a little bit careful here. Saints don't know it yet, but they do not entirely... They have an idea, but they do not entirely know who is where from the side of Thomas College. Thomas College is going to opt to start this Baron. They know Lissandra's on the wrong side of the map. However, we know Mumu's in the area, so Mumu could steal this Baron like we've already seen him steal that Drake. Thomas College looks a little bit puzzled here, unsure what they're supposed to be doing. Should they be hitting this Baron? Should they be turning for Fiora? Should they be turning for that Mumu and Lucian? That's going to be open. That's going to be an opening for that Lucian to just free hit onto that Nautilus. Nautilus is able to grab a little bit of health back. However, Thomas College is a little bit scattered here. They're still trying to figure out exactly what they want to do. Should Jin and Hui, should they turn for that Fiora? Should they keep hitting tower? That's going to be a tower falling on the side of Saints. That's going to be the ults coming in. There's a fight breaking out. Blue team's able to secure that Drake. However, we still got Saints fighting it out. That's going to be the Lissandra ult to secure that kill onto that Hui. Now what those Thomas College needs to realize, they no longer have the damage. They weren't able to protect their team, and that's going to be the ace coming through for our Saints. Really good eyes on that Lissandra. First, recognizing she could be in that side lane in order to execute that play. Then following up with that TP to close out that fight. Finding that Hui on the backside, especially with Hui not having that Zhonya's after accidentally using it. It's wasted. We got James taking a couple of tower shots, a little bit too far, too fast. Nautilus is going to be back up in 5 seconds. However, I assume this Fiora is going to be looking to close out the series here. Nautilus is back up. However, he's going to struggle. Looks like we're actually going to run away. We will be playing the safe game. We will be going for Drake here. Fiora is looking for that mid tower as well. That's going to be the Nautilus ignite down onto her. He's looking to try to secure this kill. There's the riposte. It's not going to be enough. We're going to be caught out. However, that is going to be that third Drake. So overall, during that Baron power play, that ended up turning a little bit sideways for the side of Thomas College. They were able to score that Baron. However, they end up all dying for it. They end up losing that bottom inhib. They end up losing that bottom inhib tower, that mid inhib tower, and both their Nexus towers. So all in all, the Saints are able to walk away with 4 towers, an inhib, and an ace. Giving that shutdown and a lot of that gold over to that Lissandra, which we talked about. As you can see, still behind from that Hui. However, starting to close that gap with that nice triple kill that was picked up in that last fight. So, Saints look like they're just going to opt for a wait out onto that Fiora. What I suspect that they're going to do, send Fiora top, send the other 4 mid. Somebody from Thomas College is going to have to respond to that wave with that super minion in the bot lane. As we see right now, it's Tom Kench down there. But somebody's going to have to stay down there because there is super minions. And because there are super minions, somebody has to keep clearing that out. So right now, it's actually going to be James going into the bot lane. So maybe we'll end up seeing a 1-3-1. However, they could totally opt for a 4-1 here because that bot side is going to automatically push on its own. You don't truly need somebody in that lane, but you can add it for that added pressure if you'd like. It looks like we are correcting our call as we see James now moving back across the map. Looks like he is on his way pathing top. We are starting to secure that vision line. We're deleting their vision line, so you just saw the Saints take down that ward. Trying to push back that vision line and see what we're able to see, scout out, find out where Thomas College might be at this time. We got James on that top side, so you're going to see that we are going to opt here. The Saints are going to opt here for that 4-1. We have 4 champions mid, 1 champion top. However, we see maybe they're going to try to 5-stack that top side. Right now they're in the jungle. Not entirely sure what we're up to. They are now swapping it. It's going to be the 4-stack looking top, and they're going to move James mid, which also works for this formation. It's going to be matched by two champions currently. Hui, with that wave clear, is going to be able to just easily defend that off, as well as now they're able to send that Jhin over to mid, hold Fiora mid. So you see the 4 champs are bouncing back and forth. Tahm Kench is just free grabbing all that farm in the bot lane. So right now it is a 5v4. Fiora's threatening that inhib if somebody doesn't respond, which also takes people off of that top side if they go for it. That's going to be the Skarner ult going down onto the Fiora, as well as we see the TP coming in from Tahm Kench. She parries the slow, and that's going to be the curtain call from Jhin, but Jhin has no idea where Fiora is gone and is going to miss all of his shots. So all in all, that is a TP from the Tahm Kench. Now he will not be able to push out that lane as far as he has. It's going to be the curtain call from Jhin, and that's going to be the Skarner ulti. So a lot of less pressure on the side of Thomas College for the fact that they committed so much to that play and they were not able to get any sort of payout on it. So now we see the Saints. They are 5 stacking mid, probably going to look to force a fight, knowing that both those ults are down. That's going to be Lucian opening with that ult. It's going to be on the Skarner, not exactly the target he's looking for. However, he's going to find some of that poke damage. But it's not going to be enough that it's really going to force Skarner out or anything. Nate also had hit that grab, didn't hit a priority target, so they're just going to opt not to go in on that play. Right now we see bot. We got Hui on the bot side, Skarner mid. We have Nautilus, Jhin heading top. Hui was down bot with Tahm Kench. So they're going to have to make a decision here. It looks like the Saints are going to start really pressure to that mid inhib. That mid inhib now falls. Saints now have 2 and just have to secure 1 more. If they're able to triple inhib, that will double. That was a flash from Nautilus, and Nautilus is not able to get over that wall. That is going to be a failed flash, and that flash will now be on cooldown. So another one of those resources that's just going down. It seems like Thomas College is really feeling like they're on the clock here. They need to make something happen, and they're using these resources, but they're just not finding what they're looking for by using these resources. All right, we got 10 seconds on that Chemtech. Drake spawning. If they're able to find this, that will get them soul. Oh, error with the client. We have a little bit of an error with the client. The client just kicked us out of the game. We can hear a little bit of what happened, but cannot currently see anything. All right, we are going to be going to break. It looks like the game concluded, and that is going to be a win on the side of the Saints. However, unfortunately, the client closed itself on us, so a little bit of technology issues on our end. However, that is going to be a Saints win. We are going to lead the series 1-0. Stay tuned. We will be right back just momentarily with more League of Legends to follow. See you real soon. And we are actually back. So just as we were getting ready to head on to break, the client actually launched it back up. So we want to be able to give you guys the rest. We know that the Saints cleared out. I did give you guys that as we were able to see that. However, let's see how the Saints are able to close this one out. So as we see, the Saints are now forcing that Baron. As you can see, they also scored that Drake while we were on that pause. That's going to be that engage. It's going to be a 4-on-4 here. And they're just going to start picking them off. We got just Skarner still there for the side of Thomas College. Tahm Kench is going to be on a mission to try to see if he can stop Fiora from this split push, see if he can stop her. But there's not going to be the damage there. He's not going to be able to stop that Fiora. She's going to be able to jump around and score that victory. So like I said, Saints are able to close out that first game. I'm glad the client came back and we were able to give you guys a little bit of closure and see what happens. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but that will be a Saints victory, and Thomas College will have side selection going into game 2, and we will be in game 2 probably within the next 5 minutes. So please stay tuned, and we will be back shortly. And we are back. Thank you for staying tuned for those of you who are here. Hopefully, some of us who maybe went and grabbed a snack, grabbed some water, whatever we might have needed to recover after that intense last game. Hopefully, we are tuning back in real soon. So, as you can see, again, because I'm out there coaching the guys, unfortunately, I can't be in here at the same time, giving you guys the play-by-play on what these picks are looking like until after. So I'm going to break it down while we have that 3-minute delay. As the teams are getting ready, they are loading in within the next 10 seconds. So our 3-minute timer will start then. So as they load in, let's start talking about what these comps look like. So like I said to you guys when we left off after last game, was Thomas College was going to have their pick this time around. If they wanted to go blue again, they could opt for that blue side. If they wanted red to steal it away, they were going to have that choice. St. Lawrence had that choice on the first game, and they opted for that red side, and now it was Thomas College's turn to pick, and they opted for that red side. So this game, it's going to be a little bit of flip-flop for you. As you can see, they are labeled at the top of your screen, but just so you know, it is going to be that St. Lawrence University team on the blue side, with Thomas College being on that red side. So keep a note, as you can see, reminder, we start off with 3 bands for each side. So for that side of St. Lawrence University, we are going to see that Lilia, Neferi, and Ash band. It's going to be the same 3 bands as it was last game. And then on the side of Thomas College, it's going to be Camille, Jackson, Kaisa. Again, it's going to be that same 3 bands for the side of them. So both sides being confident, as long as they can keep people off those comfort champions, that they're going to be able to pull out ahead. So as we see on the side of St. Lawrence University, last game that Nautilus was picked away. It is both supports. It's one of the more comfortable champs for both sides. So St. Lawrence, if they're going to be pushed onto that blue side, are going to take away that comfort pick and really push that Thomas College bot lane into picking something that maybe they're not as comfortable on. As we see that response, we see Tom Kench and Jin. As a reminder, we saw Tom Kench in the top lane last game. Unsure of where it was going this game because it could be a flex pick being in the support role or top. We see Jin being selected at ADC. Then we see the response, Lucian again on the side of St. Lawrence University. We played it well last game. We're willing to play it again this game. They played a good Jin last game as well. However, they weren't able to pull it off, but they're going to opt for it this game again. We're going to see that Amumu. We're going to see Nate on that Amumu again. Excited to see what he's able to do this time. He was able to find some critical lands with those bandages, able to R people in place and set up some really amazing plays. You're going to see Garen on the side of Thomas College. And then for these final picks, because we only have a minute, I'm going to try to go through a little bit more quickly, and then I can talk to you guys about the comps as we are loading in. So these final picks, we're going to see Renekton and Ari coming out for the side of St. Lawrence University. We'll see James on Renekton this game instead of that Fiora. Another comfort pick of his. Really excited to see what he can do. Also a lot more optimal when it comes to team fighting. He's going to be able to be a lot more engaged. He doesn't need to be in that side lane as much as he was on that Fiora. And then we are going to see that Ari in the mid lane, another one of our comforts. We're getting ready shortly to swap over. The final picks for that Thomas College are going to be Karthus and Mordekaiser. So quite a few flex picks for the side of Thomas College. And as we swap over to that load-in screen, we were going to see where these flex picks are going because we were not entirely sure at the time, although we did have a hunch that some of these were trying to bait out certain things. So for example, that Tom Kench, we saw it in the top lane last game. We saw it on support this time. We actually had assumed it was going to be some sort of a flex support pick, and so we were not willing to show our top laner. We want to give as much resources as we can to our top laner. James, as you saw, played a phenomenal game last time. Excited to see what he's able to do this time, but making sure he is in a comfortable matchup. As we see, blue team, reminder, St. Lawrence Saints are going to be the blue team this time. So as you can see, we're on our support player currently. We got Ayato out playing this time. So last game, our support was actually Sunny. Sunny was in for the last game. He was on that Leona that we were watching. And now we have Ayato in for this game, and he's going to be on that Nautilus. Again, it's going to be one of those comfort picks, and I'm really excited to see what the bot lane's able to do. They are going to be playing that Lucian Nautilus, which is going to be one of the more aggressive lanes against something like Jin and Tom Kench. Tom Kench is going to see what type of spacing he can provide for that Jin, maybe see if he can find some sort of an engage. However, not going to be the favorable side of this matchup. The favorable side of this matchup is really going to be that Lucian Nautilus being able to cut that distance and hold them in place. As we see that Garen is going mid, that Mordekaiser is going top with that Karthus in the jungle for the side of Thomas College. Both teams will be opting for a more formal team fight this game. Mord's going to see what he can do by pulling somebody out. As we also see this game, we are actually going to be opposite sides of the maps again. So last time we saw both junglers start on those Raptor pits. This time they're both opting to start on those blue buffs, in large part due to the fact that both of those champions are so mana dependent that they really need to be able to grab those blue buffs in order to make these clears as healthy as possible. So right now we got some trades going out on the top side. We got James on that blue Renekton. We got Thomas College on that Mord. Just a little bit of trading. Not a whole lot's going to be done there. See, they're still trading a little bit. James is going to hit 2 first. He's going to be able to trade a little bit more, get out. But again, just a little bit of trading. Not a whole lot can be done. He's looking to try to shove in this wave if possible. Mord's going to miss that pull. Going to miss that farm. Mord's just taking free damage. We got Ahri pushing in that Garen. It's going to be tough for Garen to really push in that Ahri because that clear Ahri has. It's so easy for her to take priority in that middle lane. On the bottom side of the map, both bot sides have hit 2. Nobody's opted for any sort of engage. We see Tahm Kench is a little out of position, so Saints could start to possibly look for something, but he takes a long way around. He's back in position if something starts to happen for an engage. But currently we're not seeing anything just yet happening around the map. We see junglers are now on opposite sides again. They're both at the red buffs now. We got Amumu pathing towards that bot side while Karthus is pathing towards that top side. We know from Thomas College, if they don't do anything about James, James will slowly take that lead and run with it. So it's wise for them to be going up there early and trying to see what they're able to do. If anything, he's in the area. James has no ideas in the area, though, if he ends up looking for something. However, it looks like there's not going to be anything. On the bot side, we have an engage coming through. There's going to be damage coming through onto both the carry and the support. He's going to get locked up. And he's going to opt for that W. So instead of casting that E, and maybe that E was on cooldown for the Tahm Kench there, he ends up trying to cast W to see if he can create that distance, but he's unable to. That Lucian bullet is going to come through and finish off that kill for the side of the Saints, and the Saints will be starting off with that first kill. We got Renekton chasing away Mordekaiser from lane. Mordekaiser is in a tough situation where he needs to reset here. However, if he resets, he's going to let that Renekton score that freeze up on that top side, and it will be hard for him to re-break that freeze if he's unable to. We see in that mid lane, Seba's just continuously shoving that in. Krafed on that Ahri. Definitely another one of those comfort picks. Looking forward to seeing what he's able to do. Maybe pick off some of these squishy targets this game. We see Karthus lining up for a potential gank. However, he's going to step up. Garen's prioritizing the minions here, not really looking for anything. He's going to charm Karthus under tower. Karthus is going to break the range, but overall, Karthus is just going to trade some health in order to score that Dark Harvest stack and help his mid laner possibly score a little bit of priority here, push it in. Amumu moving that way in case he's needed. However, he will not be needed. The play's already broken apart. We see Amumu looking for this second gank onto that bot side. Nautilus will miss the hook. However, Amumu will not miss that bandage. We have that Tahm Kench locked in place. He W's away. We end up hitting that bandage onto the Jhin. And Jhin falls this time. That's going to be the Ignite onto the Nautilus. Nautilus ends up dying after taking that tower shot. It looked like it was a slight miscommunication from the side of the Saints, not calling off that Nautilus in time. That he didn't truly need to walk under that tower. That detail's not totally needed right now. They are still looking for this kill, however. They do not know Karthus is in the area. We're going to see Lucian trying to see if he can pull off this kill before he dies. He gets exhausted, however, and is not going to be able to score that kill. So now that is going to be 1 kill scored for the Saints after that power play, and it is going to be 2 kills over to the side of Thomas College. It's just one of those being a little bit too greedy, trying to go for a play that's not entirely there, trying to force a little bit too hard. They're going to get punished for it. However, there's still 2 kills on the side of the Saints for that ADC, whereas Jhin has not picked up a kill yet. So our Lucian is going to be coming back to lane with more gold and ready to fight, unlike that Jhin. So we can see still a little bit of pushing here. Garen's just going to start trying to clear the wave, starting to push in that Ahri as he can now that he has the levels to do so. Nautilus is going to hit that minion instead of the Jhin, so unfortunately they will not get an angle to try to possibly score that kill. We see Amumu is looking to score these Void Grubs. However, Thomas College has rotated over their support, so they will have priority here. It is going to be a 3-on-2. Nobody's going to break that distance, and in large part, it's just one of those that, oh, there's going to be the ult from Garen. Garen is going to barely not score that kill onto the Ahri, but again, it's just one of those that the Saints need to make sure if they're going for a play like these Void Grubs, they know from that last game, Thomas College loves to rotate that support around the map. That support is always moving and is always being proactive on the map, seeing who he can help, and it's going to end up resulting in that Amumu being killed off. And here we have a fight that's going to be both ultis coming out from both top laners. Mordekaiser just trying to survive, however, he's going to fall. So that is going to be a huge kill, and that is going to be the second kill going onto the side of the Saints top laner. So he's really going to have a lot of room to work with this game in that lane. As Mord keeps stepping up, he's not scoring these kills. He's not able to break the freeze that James is holding on him. He's really going to struggle as this game continues on. But going back to those Void Grubs, with Thomas College moving that support over, they're able to secure something like that. And the Saints just did not have the vision to be stepping up that far, trying to look for it without being totally in position for something like that. So now we see bot lane's just being pushed in right now. However, again, we do have more gold in the side of the Saints in the bot lane. So if they want to look for something, they can look for something here. But really, there's no angle for that currently. So as we see the gold graph at the bottom of your screens, we can see a huge gold lead for the Saints on the side. In the top lane, we got a lead for the side of Thomas College in the jungle. We have a lead for the side of Thomas College mid. We have a lead for the ADC. We see an engage as I'm talking to you guys onto that Renekton, but there's not going to be anything scored. We see we are setting up a kill. One more auto, and he is able to score the kill. Great tanking from that Amumu to hold that tower shot so that Kraft is not forced to back after making a play like that. Overall, great play, great being proactive from the side of the Saints, and they are going to be able to look for that Drake here and secure that first Drake, which is very crucial if you're not able to score those Void Grubs, making sure that you are making it up for it by scoring the other objective on the other side of the map, which in this case is that Drake. So we see Garen opts to TP back to lane, so he will already be back in lane. We are going to see that Kraft still needs to reset. However, he's going to need to clear this wave before he can do so without losing too much to this Garen. So we see he's able to clear the lane, and it looks like Kraft is just going to opt for that back, so he can spend some of that gold after scoring that kill. On the top side, we see we got a fight breaking out again. Mordekaiser ulti going on to the Renekton, who is also in ulti form. That's going to be a flash by James right onto the Renekton. He's going to Q, spin, do a little spin there, secure that kill. Karthus looking to see if he can try to hit it. However, James just sidestepping left and right. He's not able to. Mordekaiser going to try to salvage that play by casting that ultimate, but it is just not enough damage. And now his back is stopped. That is not what you want to see if you're looking for the side of Thomas College. You don't want to see that time being wasted and those resources. Garen stepping up too far again, and he's going to be punished for it. Amumu almost fell there after that Garen ulti came down onto him, but overall the Saints are able to punish. Again, it's one of those we're talking about. If you do not have the patience to set up that vision line and you're not going to make sure you're safe before making the play, you're going to get punished for it. So he just used TP after dying that last time. So this time he's going to have to take that slow walk back to lane if he wants to get back there in time to catch some of that wave. But overall, he's going to miss a decent amount of that wave. It looks like No fight breaking out on the bot side. However, Ari is rotated up to top. That's going to be the Ari ulti over onto the stun landing from James, and that's going to be the spin again to secure that kill onto Mordekaiser. So Mordekaiser 0-4 right now, is almost going to be down to double the CS amount of his counter opponent. So it is not looking optimal for that Mordekaiser right now. He's definitely not going to be able to fight that Renekton. Renekton is going to start getting to that point that he's not even going to allow his counter matchup, which is that Mordekaiser, to even walk under tower because he will have that ability to push him off if needed. So we see right now Mumu going for those Void Grubs. Now that they've secured that kill top, he's able to grab that. Really doesn't have to worry, especially having that 4-0 Renekton right there with him. We see bot lane holding a freeze on the side of Thomas College. And looks like we're just resetting all around the map, except for top. James is already looking like he's ready to go for one more fight. See if he can cash out again. However, not entirely sure that Karthus is on that side of the map. However, Karthus is just going to reset. Not even going to bother going up there again. Last time he went up there, he ended up using that exhaust. He tried to secure that kill with his Qs. Missed those Qs after the nice side steps from 2%, which is James, our team captain. And ultimately tries to cast that ultimate and again does not score the kill. So not ideal for him to be in that lane where it's really not going to the favor and the side of that Thomas College team. Right now we see bot lane zoning off. However, they really don't have the knowledge and they have to be careful making a play like this. We do have a Mumu in the area in case anything occurs. He does not know he's walking into a bush lined with Thomas College, is forced to flash away, and there will be nothing more from that play. Mumu getting caught, trying to face check that bush, trying to make a play. Clear he wants to try to get this bot lane ahead if possible. Lucian does have those 2 kills, but and while we are jumping around the map, that's going to be a 5th kill for the side of that captain on our team, 2%. We're loving to see what he's able to do this game. He was able to add a lot of pressure last game, but this game he's going to be able to add that pressure on top of having that lead to go right along with it. So we see looking possibly at Karthus. However, that bandage will miss. So they're just going to go back, act like nothing happened. Not forced to commit. The play could have gone south as well with that Tom Kench being in the area, being a lot closer than the Saints Nautilus was. So probably best off that bandage also did not connect, but looking to possibly punish Karthus without having that knowledge that Ari and Amumu were stacked on the other side of that wall. Again, seeing it slow down. Looks like probably going to be some action top again. It's going for that ward, but really he is not. And yep, we're committing to killing that pink ward. After being so far behind, Thomas College just cannot afford to be stepping out like that. And he's not going to be killed off, but he's going to lose half his health bar. And again, he's going to be in the same issue. And we break off into a fight on the bot side. It's going to be Tom Kench being fallen first, followed by that exhaust going onto the Nautilus, not the target not the side Thomas College is looking for. They're going to secure the kill, but overall, they're going to lose 4 for it. They will end up with that Karthus ult, find the kill onto that Lucian right at the end, so they're able to salvage some of it and score 2 kills, but overall, the exhaust falling on the wrong person, Tom Kench being too far up before the fight even broke out. James is just looking to push that Mordekaiser off the tower, is going to trade his health bar for it. However, now Mordekaiser just has to sit under tower, really can't afford, should not be looking here for it. He steps up too close, and he's going to die for it. It's going to be time and time again. If you are going to step up and look for that vision that you cannot look for at that time, James is ready to punish you for it. James was going to let him off scot-free. He was going to just back after he wasn't able to secure that kill. And Thomas College goes looking for that kill that they are just not ready to look for. So another huge kill, and now if they want, they can move that Renekton back into that lane and he can push for that tier 2, or they could rotate him over to another lane, see what he's able to do against another one of those lineups. So it looks like he's going to stay. He's going to opt to possibly stay on that top side, see maybe about forcing that Rift Herald. Rift Herald is alive on that top side of the map. We see a dive going down in the bot lane, starting with that Nautilus R, not allowing that Jin to escape anywhere. Jin did have flash, but Jin would not have been able to flash and break that range. Good job by the bot lane of the Saints, really securing that kill. They did cast both ultis, however, so they do have to be cautious if they decide to fight. Although they do not have to be too cautious about that Tahm Kench, because that is the support. He does secure that kill onto the Nautilus, but overall that's another kill over to the Lucian. So overall, not the trade that Thomas College is looking for right now. Mordekaiser pushes up. Without that tower now, he can't be even standing up as far as he used to be allowed to. We see James on the hunt, trying to see what he can find. Again, he's going to take 2/3 of that health bar. Mordekaiser just forced to back again. So as you can even see in that CS numbers, we're at 141 for the side of the Saints to that 66. So even looking at that gold differential, we're at 7.4K for that Renekton in the top lane, and we're at that 3.7, almost at that 3.8 for the side of Mordekaiser. But overall, it is not looking too good for Thomas College just quite yet. We see 2% on the rotate, trying to see if he can find anything. However, he's going to get spotted out by Thomas College. They're going to miss the knock up, and they're just going to choose to disengage there. A little bit of an ambitious play being with that tier 3 tower still being up in the mid lane. Lucian's going to use ulti just to try to shove in this wave a little bit faster. However, they need to be cautious. There is 4 there for the side of Thomas College. Nautilus getting knocked up by that engage. We got the curtain call going out. That's going to be kill scored onto that Nautilus. Again, just one of those, if you step up too far and you don't know who's in the area, you can get punished for it. So Thomas College punishing that bot lane from the side of the Saints for that overstep. However, they did use those vital resources to get there. There is no curtain call for the side of Jin. And Jin doesn't even end up securing that kill. That kill goes onto the Karthus. So we're just going to see everything looks like it's slowing down a little bit right now. Karthus going to the top side to see if he can find something on James. There's going to be nothing there. Just going to try to keep his Mordekaiser alive at this point. We do see, however, which is something the Saints need to start being cautious about, is they have given 5 kills over to that Karthus. As Karthus scores these kills and casts that ultimate goes on to all 5 and deals a ton of damage. So if they are not able to slow down how many kills they are giving that champion, there is still a way that later on, maybe Karthus gets to the point where he can one-shot that Lucian, one-shot that Ahri. So they need to be cautious when they're taking these fights. They need to make sure they're not giving over free kills to that Karthus. That's going to be the Saints on that Rift Herald, like we talked about. It was up for a little bit. They're finally going to commit to it right before Baron spawns. They're going to be able to... It's going to be the Amumu picking up Shelly. Shelly can crash into that tower, deal a significant amount of damage. So once they make a play, they can either opt for maybe it's just going to crash once, maybe twice. They're looking for this play, however. Nautilus lends that route, puts that Tahm Kench in place, uses that ult onto Jin. Jin's forced to flash, however. The Saints are still focusing that Tahm Kench. Tahm Kench is going to die. That's going to be the Karthus falling as well. Now that's going to be Jin falling as they keep chasing. However, they're super low for this fight. That stun from their Renekton almost saves the Lucian. And they're going to be able to. He's going to be able to save his jungler there. However, that is additional gold into the pockets of Thomas College. They are going to win that trade 4-3. However, you are going to see for the size of the Saints, Amumu no longer has flash, as well as the ADC used both sums, so he's going to have to start playing a lot safer. But also, Jin used both his sums. Garen has no flash as well, so there's a lot of resources that are now lacking some of the tools after that fight. But overall, the fight does go over by 1 kill to the side of the Saints. The Saints just need to be a little bit cautious with something like Lucian no longer having access to that flash. We see the Ahri TP getting invested to get to that Drake. Mordekaiser are able to score that top tower with nobody going that way. We see the Saints are prioritizing going on to Soul Point here. And Thomas College is not going to be in any position to try and stop them. So they're going to have to allow them to have it, which is going to force Thomas College to either make a play and be proactive before that 4th Drake spawns, or they are going to have to look to fight their way in. However, Thomas College being 4K behind is not looking for that 5v5 team fight. More likely they're going to try to see if they can find a pick. We see the Saints setting up their vision line for that Baron, seeing maybe if they can sneak it like they did last game. However, Thomas College isn't out of position by any means currently. There you have Garen in the bot lane, but Garen does have that TP if they try to go for some sort of play. See 2%'s on his way to that bot side. However, Thomas College is just going to call for that reset on that Garen, so there will be just clearing the wave when he gets down there. Garen cancels that back, unsure of what he should be doing right now. We see skirmish going on in the mid lane. That's 3 people for the side of Thomas College. It's 2 for the side of the Saints. The Saints are just going to have to back off, respect their numbers, give them the tower. Ari looks like she's on the run from Mordekaiser right now. She's in Mordekaiser ulti. She's also casted her ulti. She's got to be cautious. That's both flashes burned. And that's going to be a kill for the side of the Mordekaiser. So the Saints now need to keep although that Mordekaiser was 0-6, he's 1-6 now. He's able to fight that Ari, so Ari needs to not be in that lane with him. He cannot fight it. We got 3 people rotating down for the side, 4 people for the side of Thomas College. Onto that Renekton, seeing if they can score that shutdown. It's going to be important, and shutdown's going to go down to that Jhin. So that Jhin is finally going to collect, and they are able to trade for that mid tower. However, it's really clear right now. Oh, Amumu was able to also score. So as Renekton fell for the side of the Saints, Amumu was able to go top and score that kill onto that Mordekaiser. So it was a 1-to-1 kill. However, the bounty on Renekton does not make that trade worth it. And because Renekton dies, it's a way larger payout for the side of Thomas College than it was for the Saints. The Saints did also grab at least that mid tower, which helped alleviate some of that burden from that play being made. However, the Saints do need to be careful because this game is still losable from them. So last we had checked in at that gold, we were at 2K deficit. Now we were at a 4. We are now only down to 2. It looks like we are slightly frozen right now. Gonna jump back 15 seconds, see hopefully that client fixes itself. But again, like I said, we are going to see that, that gold lead is quickly falling for the side of the Saints. And note, we are still currently frozen. All right, we are going to cut to a short break here while we wait to see if we can get this technology issue figured out. So we will be right back real shortly. And we are back. So we are actually going to be looking at me now. So unfortunately, the league server actually went down very briefly there. So as we were trying to wait out the delay, see if we could get reconnected in, the game actually concluded. So it's not going to let us back into the game because the game is actually concluded since we last checked in. Unfortunately, the Saints ended up going down in that game. They ended up losing. We'd seen that they were starting to slip on that gold lead and they were falling behind, and they were struggling to keep up with the pace that Thomas College was starting to present, and they were struggling to deal with some of the obstacles and challenges that Thomas College was throwing their way. So as the client went down, unfortunately, the Saints did lose game 2. We will be going on to game 3. The Saints will get that side selection, and it'll be interesting to see what the Saints can change about their draft, about how they played that game, to see what can they change and improve in order to come back in that game 3 and close out this series. So we will be out here in just a minute, and we will be back probably within the next 5. The game is back up, and we should hopefully have everything all set and ready to go for that game 3. So we will be back shortly. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back as we head into this game three. As you can see on your screen right now, we have the draft that just occurred between St. Lawrence and Thomas College as we head into this final game. It is a known server issue right now, which Riot is working on making sure that there is no further issues. So hopefully we do not get interrupted again this game. But if we do, just bear with us. It's nothing on our end. It is on Riot currently having some issues with their server. On to our draft. So as you can see, Thomas College is again on that blue side as St. Lawrence University opted to pick the red side again. The pros of picking that red side is really getting that final pick for that final counter pick that you're looking for. So as you can see, Thomas College immediately picking up that Karthus. However, they did swap up their bans this time. So as you can see for those bans on that bottom left of your screen, it is Camille Jax followed by that Lulu. So taking that Kaisa, no longer banning it, but also looking to not give possibly a Kog'Maw Lulu over to the side of St. Lawrence University. So they rushed that Karthus pick that first, followed by the St. Lawrence University team going, all right, if they're going to take that, we will take the comforts of that Nautilus and that Kaisa. So we will get our first opportunity to see that Kaisa. We are no longer going to be seeing what we've seen in those previous games. There's no more Lucian, so it is going to be Kaisa in that bot lane with that Nautilus, which is a very strong combo. Followed by, we are going to see that Garen being picked again by Thomas College. They liked how it worked last time. They're looking to pick it up again, as well as that Tom Kench, which we've seen in all three games now. Followed by that final pick coming in for the side of St. Lawrence University, which will be that Lissandra. We got to see that game one. Worked out super well for the Saints, bringing it back in. Hopefully, they're able to make it work. Followed by the second round of bans for Thomas College. That was the Fiora trend, trying to avoid some sort of a 4-1 split. They're not comfortable being able to match the Saints in that side lane pressure, which we saw them struggle with in that game one. They were leading, but then they didn't know who should go respond to that split push Fiora or that split push Lissandra, and they were giving so many vital resources over just for free because they were not reacting fast enough. Then over on the side of the St. Lawrence University, we got Jin and Mordekaiser. Those were the final bans, so we will not be seeing that Mord from game 2. We will not be seeing that Jin from the first games 1 and 2. And then those final picks for the side of St. Lawrence University, Amumu we will be seeing again, as well as that Renekton, which we really saw James thrive on that last game. So we'll excited to see if he's able to keep up that energy this game. And Thomas College opts is for that Jinx in place of that Jin since Jin was banned, and that Silas. So a lot of exciting new picks coming to the Rift, but a couple of things we've already seen before. We've seen the Amumu all the games, and we've seen Tom Kench in all these games, as well as Nautilus playing for both sides. As you can hear, we are loading into the game. We should be swapping over just momentarily. And just as a reminder, it is going to be Thomas College on that blue side, and it's going to be our Saints on that red side. So excited to see what the Saints are able to do, if they're able to bounce back and close out this series, or will Thomas College be able to close out the series after that win in game 2? As we can see, both teams are setting up, and it's just going to be the standard 5-point. They're going to make sure nobody can cross over, nobody can come get vision of what their jungler's doing, where they're going, anything like that. With our standard Karthus, Amumu, like we saw in game 2, they will probably both opt to start at that blue, so they will be jungling opposing ways of one another. Right now, Amumu's guarding over by his Raptors. However, I would suspect he's probably going to end up moving over towards his blue buff to start that blue buff. So really standard. It'll be interesting to see with that Thomas College moving that Garen over to that top lane from mid to see how that works, if it's able to fix some of that issue that was occurring in the previous game where they were really struggling on that Mordekaiser into the Renekton. Maybe having something like that Garen will allow for them to be a little bit safer. Alrighty. So as we see, standard starts, all the lanes going to lane. Bot lane looking possibly for a cheese. However, with Nautilus being behind in that alcove, it doesn't give him an option to pull anybody without going into vision. So not really anything that the Saints can do there. But possibly looking in case maybe somebody overstepped looking for Kaisa. But nothing's gonna shake out from that. Again, totally standard starts in each of the lanes, just clearing out. Nothing too crazy for trades coming out. We see Lysandra pushing in Silas. Silas taking a good chunk of damage there. However, he'll be fine. He's safe. That's going to be the pull onto Tom Kench. They're going to land the root. That's going to be the Kaisa passive. So it's going to be half health. He's going to be forced to use one of his pots in order to stay in lane there. However, he'll be fine. It's not going to be anything that's going to force him out of lane just quite yet. We see Renekton getting ready to crash his wave top. Lysandra still keeping that pressure mid, as well as that bot lane's really pushed in right now. So Karthus is going to have to pick a lane sometime soon and really try to get somebody out from being stuck underneath their own tower. Whereas Amumu has a little bit more freedom, can look to possibly counter gank if Silas tries to turn around one of these lanes. But overall, the Saints are really applying the pressure this game and pushing Thomas College under those towers. So we see that bot wave is going to start bouncing back. We see more minions on the side of blue. A little bit of trading going out on the top side, but again, nothing going to be too crazy. Overall, very, very standard starts from both sides. Both junglers doing full clears as well. James taking quite a bit of damage there. A little bit. He's got to be a little bit careful taking that kind of damage early on. He doesn't want to get pushed out of lane too early. Like he pushed that Mordekaiser out last game. He's got to be careful of that. We see they're looking for something bot side. Not going to find anything. It was actually Kaisa leading there. Mumuzen doesn't know that he's actually spotted on vision here. So Thomas College knows that they just got to be careful. Karthus is just going to opt for the other scuttle. They're going to trade scuttles here, keeping it pretty even through the start. We see Lysandra getting ready to reset. It's going to be canceled. Karthus looking towards possibly stealing away those raptors. We see an engage going on the bot side. We got everybody working on that Jinx. She flashes over. Mumu and Kaisa flash after her, and that's going to be first blood going over to Gabe. We see those autos going in, and they're going to score that double kill as well. That was a nice route to hold that Tom Kench in place from that Nautilus. We see that Karthus is able to score that counter jungle. He goes into that top side, scores some counter, but really there's no angle here for Garen and Karthus without the wave fully crashing here. Garen can't step up and finish this wave to finish pushing it over where Karthus would have needed in order to make something happen, but also there's really no angle for the two of them right there. But great start for the Saints. They're picking up that double kill. As we can see, the Thomas College ADC is at 1.4k, and now Gabe is at 2.2, making that lane that much easier for them to make plays if they're looking for it. So right now, good things coming out from the Saints bot lane, and we're looking forward to seeing what they're able to do. See Kraft looking to reset mid again, gets canceled one more time in the mid lane. Silas does not want to let him get that reset off. Ultimately, Kraft needs to decide here. Does he step further back? Silas is hit 6 first, so Kraft has to be careful, especially since Silas has his ult. He has to be cautious of that ult holding him in place and Silas getting the opportunity to burst him. See Mumu rotating over. Karthus looking for some sort of a play top. And Renekton is going to roll out of there. He ends up casting his ult. However, Garen had to flash to try to close that distance. So overall, it's not a great play out of Thomas College. Again, they score that Dark Harvest up. And as we are looking mid, we see that ult being used by Silas onto Lysandra. Lysandra looking for a play back is going to use the ult, and Moom is going to layer that with bandage, and there's just going to be no room for that Silas to move, so Silas will fall. As you can see, Karthus is currently working on those Void Grubs, and we see that St. Lawrence is just going to go opt to possibly go take that Drake. They're willing to trade. They don't mind. And we see Amumu getting ready to start. Without Silas being in that mid lane, they really don't have the pressure to come contest this if they're looking for it. Bot lane also now has a pushing wave. And the Thomas College bot lane has to respect the idea that they know Amumu's in the area, they know they're probably at Drake, and they just can't go looking to see if they can confirm that suspicion. We see James holding a nice freeze against this Garen. We can also see, and there goes the dragon. So we did take that trade as well. Dragon is now fallen. The first dragon will go over to the side of the Saints, and that first set of Void Grubs are going to go over to the side of Thomas College. They're both willing to trade, and it's a good look for both sides, playing to the side that they have pushed and they have the pressure to follow up on. So now it's important to also note Sylas is a champion who his ultimate is by stealing other champions' ultimates. So if he opts to just stay in this lane, he's already stolen the Lissandra's ult, and it has now gone on to cooldown. So he needs to find some sort of another champion if he wants an ultimate in order to fight. However, if Amumu's not there, he has nobody to take from. So he's got to be a little bit cautious if he ends up looking for a fight with no ulti, because Lissandra will still have hers. We see a hook going on to Tahm Kench, rooting him in place, and they're just going to look for the poke damage. Tahm Kench casting his E there doesn't give him any of that health regen. So he's going to lose more health in the trade. Thomas College isn't going to find the trade that they're looking for. Both ADCs also now have ult in the lane, and the supports do not. And that's going to be great poke coming out of Gabe onto that Jinx. She's going to have to be careful taking that type of poke damage from a Kai'Sa. We see Amumu sitting in the area looking to see if there's any sort of angle he can take onto that Sylas mid one more time. See if he can get him ahead. We also see some skirmishing going on in the top lane. Bot lane, they've settled down a little bit, just clearing the waves. We see Karthus on the minimap is looking towards bot, where Amumu again is still looking towards mid. He's staying there a little bit long now. He's starting to lose valuable time. That's going to be the hook into the root, and that's going to be the burst right onto the Tahm Kench. Very good hook angle coming out of Sunny. In case you did not notice, our support has swapped back to Sunny, who we got to see really shine in that game 1. We saw Ayato come in for that game 2, and now we're back on to that, seeing Sunny really shine and really show what he's capable on that Nautilus in this game 3. So I'm excited to see what he's capable of. Karthus just hovering in the area, making sure there's no angle. They got to be careful. This bot lane does not have this knowledge from the side of the Saints. Karthus steps out just to push them off, but the Saints do got to be careful. If they're going to make a play like that, they got to make sure they have the knowledge that they're able to execute that. Had they stepped a little bit further, it might have been a little bit more dicey for them. As we can see in the top lane, we have James crashing that tower. That's 2% on the Renekton again. We got to see him really excel on it last game, so seeing him perform well this game, he scored a kill as well as he has a nice lead as well. We see mid lane, a little fight occurring. Kraft is just going to opt to use that flash. He's going to be out scot-free. Top lane, Garen is getting pushed in one more time. Then 2% will probably look for that back, taking a little bit of poke damage. Karthus is hovering in the area in case things start really going south for them. However, there'll be no angle. We see in the bot lane's on their way back. However, Nautilus is actually not pathing with the Kai'Sa. He's actually on his way to Void Grubs, which could mark danger for the Thomas College side if they don't move somebody over and they look to contest it, because this time it is actually St. Lawrence Saints looking to move that pressure onto that side of the map and make the play. We see Karthus stepping up. Karthus face checks the bush. That's pinked for the side of the Saints. He grabs, Sylas is able to grab onto that Lissandra. Lissandra ends up falling without an ulti up. Nautilus had started pathing top. However, it looks like it's just going to be a double kill for that Sylas. So trying to execute that play and just not having the resources there for the side of the Saints. That Lissandra ulti was down, and Sylas is just able to pick that up because Nautilus was actually pathing top to try to see if he could make something happen top. Unable to make something happen top, gives Sylas the opportunity. He's looking for it to score that double kill, and now that Lissandra has to be careful being in that lane with that Sylas, that extra gold is going to hurt. They also now have the opportunity to take those Void Grubs and stack up all 6 of those Void Grubs. So dangerous play from the Saints, and it is going to, in this time around, not pay off for them. James is on his way over to see what he can scout out. However, he knows that they're in the river. He's just gotta steer clear of it, and Tom Ken zoning him off. But overall, it's going to be nothing there for the Saints. The Saints, looking to apply some pressure, but do have the opportunity if Jinx steps up to dive her. She's going to cast ulti, see if she can try to take some of this gold. But the Saints are just going to back off and go for Drake. So seeing that misstep, they read, they move back to the stronger side. We should see Amumu playing for this middle to bot side. Karthus looks to be favoring a little bit more of the top side this time. Tom Kench is still sitting around Karthus. He should be heading back to his lane or trying to be proactive in one of the lanes. Right now, it would appear that Tom Kench is actually just wasting time. And now he's just going to back. So overall, Tom Kench just wasting time of his own. He cancels his back. W's over. He's going to look to possibly defend a dive if a dive comes through. But Renekton's not looking for a dive. And again, Tom Kench not picking up XP, not picking up gold, not making a play is really hurting his shot. And the bot lane goes for an aggressive play. Kai'Sa ults in right after Jinx, doesn't secure the kill, dies for it. And now Silas gets another free kill onto Nautilus, which will be secured here in just a moment. So being greedy on the map for the side of the Saints. The Saints are slowly losing this lead, which we watched happen in that game too. When they were starting to get ahead, we see Silas splash after, land the root. We see Lissandra trying to use that R to buy herself some time, but she's down. Overall, this is not looking good for the Saints right now. They had a lot of high tempo pressure at the start with that lead being on that Kai'Sa, getting things going, but things are not looking well. And Karthus casts that ult, scores another Dark Harvest stack. Garen going for the dive. Not going to secure the kill. James actually dives to safety, and he's going to score that double kill. So just like we saw that overstep from the Saints onto that Jinx, we now see on Tom Kench. So Tom Kench has been gone for minutes on end. And yes, Jinx ends up surviving that dive. However, during that time that he is on the map roaming, he's not picking up XP, he's not picking up gold. He finally goes to pick up some gold, and he ends up dying for it. So overall, Tom Kench has wasted a lot of time and is just putting himself further and further behind in this game. So as we see the gold starting to change up all around the map, we see there's still a decent engage happening. Silas going in onto the Lissandra, and Lissandra just has to back off. Silas having that extra gold over her right now. She can't be stepping up like that. She can't be looking to take control of that wave. She has to respect him, has to wait for the wave to come to her side of the lane so that way she can clear it out. We see bot lane trying to freeze on the side of Thomas College, hoping that maybe that Karthus, who's over at the red, maybe can come down and make a play after. Overall, this gold around the map, we see Karthus leading Amumu. We have Renekton beating Garen pretty heavily again on the top side. With those 3 kills, definitely helping him take control of that map. Now we have to see how that'll transition and how that'll make an impact on the rest of the map as the game proceeds on. We also see that 1k gold lead on that Silas over that Lissandra, which is definitely a little brutal. We see right here, they're looking to make a play. Amumu casts ulti, but now Silas has Amumu ult, and really right there, the Saints needed to either back up or turn on to that Karthus. They're not ready to fight that Silas, and they go for it, and overall, it ends up not paying out for them. Lissandra is forced to burn her flash there, and Amumu's forced to burn that ult. They're looking to see if they can possibly make a play onto the Lissandra here, and Silas casts that Amumu ult in a big whiff for him. He's not going to be scoring that kill today. We see the Lissandra ult coming out to dodge that Jinx ulti, and we'll make it through. And Karthus will not have enough damage to secure that kill. Not what he was hoping for, hoping that he could have picked up that kill, add a little bit more pocket into his, add a little bit more gold into his pocket. We see 2 people sieging mid for the side of Thomas College. We have a pretty even stalemate. Oh, Looks like Karthus overstepped and actually ends up executing himself. Nobody ends up picking up the kill. Amumu ends up stepping up to try to see if he can make something happen and just dies. So that's another free kill handed right over to the lap of Silas. So Saints are going to have to be careful if they're not able to take care of this issue. We see Lysandra trying to see if she can catch him, but she can't. Overall, Saints handing over free kills. They're going to suffer as the game goes on if they keep giving the Silas, who scales so well into the game, these free kills time and time again. Both bot lanes look like they're opting for a reset here. Keep in mind this is going to be the third drag, so if it is picked up on the side of the Saints will be on soul point. That Cloud Soul will give them a lot more movement speed when they cast their ult, and will make things like Renekton a whole lot easier to execute, as well as Kai'Sa when she relocates herself somewhere, giving her that extra movement speed to either close in on somebody or to create that gap. We see Lysandra looking to make that play onto Karthus. We see Kai'Sa jumping in, and that's going to be a huge play for the side of the Saints. So right there, Silas casting his ulti to try to create that spacing for that Karthus on to our ADC, Gabe, on that Kai'Sa, using that. But Lysandra also beautifully timing her ulti in sync. So Silas also himself couldn't do anything. Lysandra is over the wall, and you hate to see it. That Tom Kench, we saw it in game one when he was playing that Nautilus, that accidental miss flash, and we just saw it again there, really trying to hope to make something make a play happen there. Sorry for the little misspeak there, but overall he's gonna miss that flash, gonna miss the slow, and he's not gonna be able to catch up to that Lysandra. Overall, if you look at the top of your screen, we see that we have Thomas College again. That is the blue side for those of you who might have tuned in late. They're sitting at 29.5k gold, and your St. Lawrence Saints are sitting at 31.5. So that is that 2k gold lead, which before we had that crash in game 2, we had seen they had that lead, and the Saints ended up losing that game. So the Saints have to be careful. Although, yes, they have a gold lead, they have to be careful with their gold lead not to throw it this time around. Again, we're just seeing a lot of pushing out waves, people reset. Renekton looking to go grab that red buff along with that Amumu, and they could head back and see about scoring a kill onto the Garen. However, he has to be careful that there is a ward in that pixel, but if Garen oversteps, he won't be able to close that gap fast enough. He's going to be forced to burn that flash. Again, it's one of those, if you do not set the proper line of vision. Oh, we see an engage going in bot. Silas rotated over bot. That's going to be the Karthus ult following it. And unfortunately, Nautilus is not going to be able to pull himself to safety in time. It's going to be Karthus being caught out by Lysandra there. However, rotating over all 4 resources, they saw that Amumu went top to try to see if he could make something happen top. They know that they can go trade for this bot tower for free after they've already grabbed that mid tower. And with Lysandra pushing over, she wasn't there to push in that wave and wasn't there to grab that mid tower, so they can react. However, it looks like they're going to just opt for that reset and look to just trade that tower out. Sandra's able to grab that tower. So ultimately, they just traded that bot tower for that mid tower. However, in addition to that, you got to see that the Saints were not able to get out, which led to Thomas College picking up that kill on that Nautilus there when they rotated over. But Saints making the most of that play back there, moving that Lysandra back mid, picking up that kill mid, and being able to try to make a play. Moving their Fed Renekton into the bot lane is a good move here, although he will be into that Silas, so it'll be interesting to see how he does into that Silas. That Silas being 4-2, he is 4-0. They are currently in the process of setting up some presence and some vision over around that Baron pit, which currently the Saints cannot see. They spot out that Tom Kench is in the area, but they truly are not entirely sure where everybody is, what they're looking for, and it looks like Thomas College is going to play around it. Mumu's going to miss that bandage onto the Jinx. He's going to hit the second one, though. He's looking for Tom Kench ults and is able to pull that Karthus out to safety. Jinx is forced to use that barrier and fear for her life, but nothing is going to come out of it. Saints decide to play a little bit more patient, wait for them to misstep one more time, and then look for that punish. So that's going to be a Baron start on the side of Thomas College. They've moved all their resources over here. We have Renekton on the bot side for the side of the Saints, so they're in no position currently. And in all honesty, they don't even have the vision. So they have an idea that they're somewhere over there, but they have no idea that they've even started it. And the Saints are just going to reset. So there's going to be the execute on the Garen, who should have just stepped back and not even died for it. But he ends up dying for it, doesn't step back quick enough. And that's going to be one less Baron buff for the side of the Saints, as well as now it's going to delay that power play because the Saints have the numbers for free because Baron is able to take down that Garen. So a little bit of a misplay on the side of the Saints not establishing any vision on that side, even after the Nautilus had already pushed past the river and had the opportunity to secure a little bit of vision. But also a misplay on the side of Thomas College for Garen dying. Garen should have never have been that close to dying and never should have let himself die, and ultimately it wastes some valuable time on that Baron power play for them. We see both teams with this Drake coming up soon. It's going to be that soul that we were talking about that will give that bonus movement speed. We see Silas is currently in the process of shoving out that mid wave, so they will have that prio in that lane as well. However, the Saints trying to establish hopefully some pressure on the bot side of the map. Saints are going to have to make a decision here. They find Silas a little bit out currently, although he's able to slide back. Jinx shoots Rocket off. It's going to be a little early. That's going to be the grab onto Karthus. They're going to find that kill. They need to make sure that this Karthus ult does not find a kill in return. It does not. Karthus is dead, and the side of Thomas College no longer has a jungle if they look to execute this. However, they need to get this Drake before they get into position, and that's going to be the Kai'Sa walking up first. She can't be doing that. She needs to be behind her support. Going to be eaten by that Tom Kench to buy a little bit of time. However, it's not going to be enough, and Tom Kench and Silas will fall together. That Moo Bandage going to hit onto that Garen. Jinx trying to see if she can find anything. That flash from Nautilus will secure that kill onto Garen. Jinx forced to flash. They're trying to see if they can catch her. That Lysandra flash will secure that kill onto the Jinx. So overall, Thomas College ends up trading 4 for 1 and end up securing that Drake. Yes, they did stop Soul, but they give up so many resources for it. We see the Saints opting to recall, make sure that they can't give any additional resources to Karthus. They're not able to pick up that tower. However, they did pick up more gold in that altercation, picking up those 4 kills, securing it, and with Thomas College only really picking up that Cloud, overstepping their welcome, wasting that Amumu ult that is so vital in securing kills. His team wasn't ready to follow up, so using that Amumu ult the way he did, yes, sure, he collects on that 1 kill. However, Amumu ult is so vital for locking down teams, not having anyone there to back him up, follow up. He then forces his support to use that ulti on him, and they both end up dying for it. So in all in all there, it really just was not what the Silas should have been looking for. See Tom Kench hanging out in the area, trying to make sure he can defend. He's going to push off that Amumu. Silas going for a little bit of poke, but there's nothing there. There's no angle for either side to really execute anything. But one of the things that with that Thomas College support, he definitely loves to just sit around, hover somebody. One of the downsides to a support just sitting around and hovering somebody is they're not accumulating that gold. They're not accumulating that XP. Sure, there's that presence and it says, hey, you can't kill this person. But overall, he's just putting himself behind in this game, because if he's not able to execute and get that kill, he's not getting that gold. He's not getting that XP. They end up getting that tower, so it ends up working out for him that time around. However, it's a lot of time that Nautilus and Kai'Sa have against this Jinx to possibly threaten. That's going to be the miss. Silas tried to go over that wall with his E. He's going to actually miss going over the wall and is not going to be able to find anything. Lysandra getting jumped by that Garen, has to be careful because Garen will take her down if she's not careful. It's going to be Renekton matching that Sylas. Everybody around the map except for top starting to reset. That Garen's going to be late on his reset in comparison to that Lysandra. If he over pushes that, he really doesn't have the vision. Right now, he just spots out. Amumu's behind him. So he's got, look at that. Forced to burn that flash again. Amumu's happy to walk away. And now Garen has to be cautious in that lane again. He has no vision on that blue side jungle for the Saints that he really just cannot be stepping up the way he is. We see that Thomas College is now starting to work their way into mid, see if that they can force this tier 2 mid. The Saints are a little slow in responding here. They're going to lose the tower. They end up investing that TP from that Renekton. Renekton's looking to see if he can maybe find an angle. And Karthus is just going to walk right into him. He's going to face check the bush, and the Saints are right there ready to punish. We see the Lysandra TP coming in from behind. However, the Saints need to disengage slightly here, make sure they don't lose anyone too much. It's going to be 3 kills down for the Saints, 1 kill for Thomas College, and it's going to be all on this Garen. Can this Garen get away? What are the Saints going to do with this lead? The Saints are going to let him walk away, and they're going to go look to punish them in the mid lane. Overall, well executed. Very, very key patience from that top laner. Seeing James on that Renekton, really being patient, letting that Karthus walk right at him, not stepping out sooner than he did. Caught Thomas College totally off guard. They were unsure of how to react. They wanted to look for the fight, but before they even knew it, Karthus was already out of the fight, and they were already looking at a 3v4. And with the Lysandra TPing, Garen having Ignite and being in a side lane, he really can't do that if they're looking for a team fight, if they're looking to force something like they did mid. So now with that inhib, they'll have a lane pushing on its own. The Saints are going to have to decide. It looks like they're going to stack a bush, see if they can maybe find a kill like they just did previously on that Karthus. Although it doesn't look like it's going to catch anybody out from Thomas College. They're coming around now. Got to be careful. The moment this pops, they're going to know that the Saints are on their flank. The Saints do not have the knowledge on where everybody is. And Nautilus is alone right now, forced to flash to safety. However, nobody is keeping eyes on that Karthus. And Karthus is just going to be killed off at the start once more. They're going to trade 1 for 1. It's going to be Lysandra dying for the side of the Saints. And that's going to be that Jinx ult coming down. She's going to secure that double kill. Beautiful ult from that Jinx, securing that double kill. Overall, ends up not being worth for those Saints. The Saints really needed to pick a different bush than what they had originally selected. However, they end up going for the bush they did. None of Thomas College walks by it. They now get Drake for free as well as the 4 kills. They needed to either stack that other bush and wait. I mean, unfortunately, they didn't go the way that the Saints had hoped, and they weren't able to find that pick that they were looking for. However, the Saints also did not have the vision to be overstepping the way they did and trying to play for a retake. Now, it's important to keep in mind with Drake now being on cooldown, the only objective that can be played for right now is Baron, which we saw Thomas College already sneak once this game. They took it. The Saints had an idea that they were in the area, but opted not to do anything about it. And with the TPs of both Lysandra and Renekton being on cooldown, they have to be careful having somebody in that bot side. If they apply that pressure onto that Baron, they have to walk there. They can't use that teleport to get over there sooner than they would hope. See Karthus getting ready to clear some vision. Thomas College hoping to push up their vision line. That's going to be Thomas College calling, hey, let's just do the Baron. If Renekton's going to go bot, he can stay bot, and we'll just take care of this. They have to also keep in mind on the side of the Saints that they don't have numbers. They do spot out Sylas. It's actually not helping currently, but it's just going to be over. So they end up securing Baron, which will be traded for, it looks like a tier 2 tower on the bot side. So the Saints are able to secure that tier 2. But now that Baron buff is on all of Thomas College, it's really their time to push, see what they're able to make happen. And we see Lysandra trying to push out that top lane before she moves back mid to try to limit if somebody goes up there, try to slow them down slightly. Saints also need to be careful, and that's going to be the grab onto the Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa's able to disengage just enough. Silas is in a tough spot. He actually is going to go down. It's going to be the follow-up. That's going to be 3 kills for the side of the Saints. That's going to be 4. So actually, it's going to be Garen in the solo lane by himself. They're just going to invest to Renekton, have Renekton push him off. Well, the others look to possibly see about sending everybody else to see if they can end the game. Renekton is going to be on the chase of Garen, but he opts to disengage. So Garen will have the opportunity to go back and defend his base. Death timers are upwards of about 20 seconds right now. Garen just has to wait for the wave to spawn, see what he can hold, not overstep, make sure that he doesn't die before his team gets back up. Doesn't look like there's really going to be a whole lot of an angle for the side of Thomas College to lose. So they are not going to really get that punished. They will lose the Baron buff. The power play is now going to be over. They weren't able to get any of the towers, which they definitely were not hoping for. But with the inhib coming back up, this is really going to become anyone's game. See who missteps. Person to keep an eye on is going to be that Silas. That Silas found a crucial engage onto that Kai'Sa, but they had an idea. He was on that side. He had just taken a Mumu ult. He had gone to that side. So Kai'Sa really needs to be cautious about her positioning when she is around a champion like that, because casting that ult that he had of a Mumu's almost secured that kill. It didn't quite secure it, and the Saints were able to pull off the team fight, but being cautious of those who might be able to stat check you is always very important when it comes to the game of League of Legends. See Renekton spotting out Karthus. However, it's going to be a stack. Jinx throws the W early, so now the Saints know that they're there. Mumu's going to find the bandage onto Karthus. Going to find the second one. Peeling back off as they see the TP from Silas coming in. Now Mumu's just overstepped. And he's not going to be able to get out of there. So that is going to be almost a 50-second death timer on him. Drake's going to spawn in 25 seconds. We're going down to 20 here. So really, the Saints are just going to have to give this Drake one more time. Just trying to hold on to that bot tower. We see Renekton doing a good job of just clearing that wave. We're going to see Jinx use that ulti to try to see if she can let that pressure be applied by that Garen. However, it's going to be nothing there. As the game concluded for them, we're going to try to see if we can get that stream back up, and we're back in. So let's see how this game finishes through. All right. We see the bot lane going to that mid lane to try to see if they can get that push going back in their favor. They really need to see if they can go to that mid inhib, try to see if they can grab some more pressure through grabbing that mid inhib, but they're not in no position right now, especially with Renekton in base. Lissandra's leaving base, and Mumu just got back out of base. You know, being the only two that were truly on the map, they have to be very cautious while they're out on the map by themselves. They're taking that mid prio. That Tom Kench just sitting around trying to see if he can scout out any sort of information while he's in that side bush. Karthus moving up. We're going to see Jinx landing that W on the Kai'Sa. They're trying to... Oh, we see a fight breaking out on the bot side as well. They see Karthus. Karthus is alone. Karthus doesn't have the vision to be making this play. He's going to be caught overstepping, and he's just going to get killed off for it. We do see they have Silas on the flank, but they got to be careful. Lyssandra's also on her own right now, so she's got to be cautious being on her own trying to make this play. She is able to use that ulti. That's going to be the Amumu ulti to follow up. Kais is going to ult in. They're going to be able to quickly take down that Silas. Tom Kench is going to fall with that TP. They're able to just secure that kill onto Jinx. Right now, they can look to go for that end, maybe send somebody to stop Garen, but they can just all go mid and end this game if they want to. It's only just Garen. Garen has to wait for the first teammate to respawn. His first teammate's going to be that Karthus coming in at 25 seconds. However, that's probably going to be too much time for Thomas College to wait for a teammate to be up. You see them focusing the tower. He's able to score that kill onto Amumu, but now he's overstepped. Although Kaisa taking that tower damage, she's going to fall as well. So they lose quite a bit of damage with the Kaisa falling there. However, they're going to secure that kill. Karthus is going to come back up, but it's going to be too little too late, and the Saints will close out that game 3 for us. So that will be a Saints win in game 3, which will bring the score total Saints 2, Thomas College 1. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed the games. A lot of back and forth, a lot of great excitement. Apologies for the technology issues that happened. Again, that was on Riot's end. Riot is doing a little bit of work on their client, so unfortunately their client did go down during Game 2, and we apologize that you weren't able to see the end of Game 2. You weren't able to see what led to the end of it. We had a little bit of an issue in Game 1. However, by Game 3, I think we were able to really bring it back for you guys, and I hope you guys really enjoyed your experience, and stay tuned. We will be back with Rocket League on Thursday, so keep your eye out. Take a look at the St. Lawrence University Athletic website to see who's playing, when they're playing, and where you can tune in. See ya.